And last up, no, this is gorgeous stuff. No, not Buenos Aires, it's a club in Miami. It's 6 a.m. on the day of the Boca Juniors versus Bayern Munich clash. Boca fans unrivaled, and there must have been some sore heads this morning, I would guess. Right then, guys, let's get going, shall we? Mamelodi Sundowns are fast becoming a huge story at the Club World Cup. I am loving their unique style of play, and we're truly seeing why they're known as the Brazilians. Let's have a look at the highlights from their game here. They were absolutely sensational and took the lead. Brilliant stuff from Ribeiro. We'll be talking about him in a bit more detail. Then it all went awry. Our first comeback in our first game. Williams with the mistake there. Another good press from Dortmund, and they're on their way again. Guirassi scoring here at the back post. And then it was time for Job, if my memory serves me right.
Yeah,
Jules
right,
getting his first goal
in his
second
start.
game. In his first start, that's right. But it wasn't over. They got themselves another one, 4-1, and it was looking pretty devastating for Mamelodi Sundowns. Kovac thought he had the game in the bag, but Mamelodi Sundowns, they were doing bits in this game. They were all over them throughout. And it got pretty hairy, finishing 4-3. Motiba, the substitute, coming on and scoring a goal there. That was so much fun, that game, wasn't it? Probably my favourite game of the tournament. Was it for you?
Yeah, and we said yesterday on the show that we felt maybe there could be something there for Mamelodi against Dortmund that we're not really impressed with, and they was just maybe a bit too naive defensively, as we saw in some of the goals. But going with the ball, going forward, they're just amazing.
Yes, let's explain why. I'm Mamelodi Sundowns now. It's official. I love them as we head to the tactics board, because these are the two teams, and you would imagine Dortmund to have their way in this game. It should have been comfortable, but no. Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa are here to play. These are the average positions, and what you can see from this is, first of all, the press from Dortmund was pretty good, and we'll show that in a second. But the movement of some of these players, and I just want to kind of run through a few of them and maybe a couple of stats as well, because the freedom that they play with, we spoke about Mokoena on the press, Jules. You spotted a really great thing about Mokoena where he drops deep into this back line and he's not afraid to do that, but also sometimes drifts forward as well if it works for him. But Matthews, here's a stat for you. 2 dribbles attempted, 2 dribbles successful. He was a live wire throughout the game. Reyners up top, 12 passes attempted, 100% pass completion. All 12 were accurate. You do not see that a lot of the time. Allende, I think he's my favourite. He is absolutely fantastic. Gets on the ball and runs with it. 4 key passes in this game. He had 7 out of his 8 long balls were successful as well. So this shows you that although they were 4-1 up, it was all about Mamelodi Sundowns, and Ribeiro, absolutely fantastic in this game. And he won 9 of his 10 ground duels. And Mamelodi Sundowns actually won 60% of their ground duels as well. So really, really free team. Let's show you some clips of them, because from an attacking point of view, they were just so much fun, Jules, weren't they?
Yeah, they were, and you mentioned the verticality in their game. Matthews there on that left-hand side, always a threat. Dortmund with their back 5, really struggling to stop those runs and the passes. And on this occasion, it didn't come out of anything. But again, you look there, first toe is going forward. Yeah. That pass there, they've got the extra man everywhere. They're going to go wide again. And then this is Matthews again in that position. And again, it could have been much better. And maybe one of the favourite one is Ribeiro in that
just bounces position. Off him there,
bounces
doesn't
off him between the lines. This time it doesn't really go exactly as he wants. He's a Brazilian, and that's why he's suited perfectly. But look at this. Control
this
the ball
is
on
unreal,
his back
people.
Foot, and then it's an Atem Ben Arfa goal for Newcastle against Bolton.
Look at the motor on him.
And then the three against the goalkeeper, and he finishes properly.
Brilliant finish.
Just stunning stuff. And Dortmund, they didn't know what to do. And the stats back it up. 16 shots to 8, an XG of 2.6 to 2.19, 41 final third entries to 33. And as I said, Jules won many, many more from Mamelodi Sundowns. And I think the other thing to talk about here is the big chances, because as we saw, 8 shots in that game, but 4 big chances for Borussia Dortmund, who kind of they sort of hung in there, but then they hurt themselves here, didn't Mamelodi Sundowns, didn't they?
I think when you have a team this expensive and this free-flowing, there is sometimes a bit of naivety that creeps in, and I think that mistake from Williams right there, it is a great press from Dortmund, and you saw throughout this game, a lot of the chances they were creating was by winning the ball high up, punishing Mamelodi, but I mean, this is my favorite goal of the lot. Guirassy starts to move up, plays it out wide, and then on side to just finish it off as well, too. And I think at the moment, he's one of the more underrated center forwards in Europe.
Yeah, very, very dominant stuff from Dortmund. And of course, Joe Bellingham getting a goal as well. It's one of those ones where it just could have been so different. Obviously, 4-1, they get it back to 4-3. But when you've given them those goals, and they did, didn't they? And if you think of the fourth goal as well, that was an own goal.
Yeah.
So they didn't really deserve, in my opinion, any of those goals. I appreciate the press was solid, but all the great play, for me, came from Mamelodi Sundowns throughout the game. Now, the game was on at midday, so it was hot. And so the Dortmund subs had a different way of tackling that heat. So check this out. It goes to social board now. You can see our subs watched the first half from inside the locker room to avoid the blazing sun at TQL Stadium. Never seen that before, but in this heat, it absolutely makes sense, according to Borussia Dortmund FC. 32 degrees, 55% humidity. Do you think that kind of plays a factor in all of this in terms of the, I want to use that word, electricity of Mamelodi Sundowns? Maybe they're just a bit more acclimatised to the heat.
Absolutely.
Dortmund couldn't handle them at all, could they?
Yeah, no, you're right. And it's one thing to want to play and to want to attack all the time and have that verticality and all those runs off the ball, etc. And it's another thing to be able to do it under that heat at that time of kickoff. Yes. But if you've been used to it and if you play in those conditions more regularly than others, then it's easier for you. And it's another thing about this competition. South American teams and Central American teams are doing well, like African teams as well, probably because the weather is something that they're more used to.
I think it's remarkable as well, too, right? Obviously, they lose this game, but a team from South Africa is going head-to-head, toe-to-toe with one of the biggest teams in Europe. The wage bill, I mean, the finances compared from Dortmund to Mamelodi is ridiculous. So I think teams like this should really be proud of the efforts that they're giving, man, because when else do you get to see the opportunity to even play these teams? And
you're right, because it feels like we're kind of getting almost desensitized to this.
This shouldn't be normal what we're watching right now. No.
And, you know, there's been a lot of talk about the competition and what would the sort of competitive nature of the tournament be like. But we have seen quite clearly that South American teams can dominate and beat the best teams in Europe. And Mamelodi Sundowns, a team that I think the whole world maybe didn't know about, they now absolutely know about Mamelodi Sundowns. They are fantastic, still with a chance of going through. Wouldn't put it against them to do that as well. One quick chat on Joe Bellingham, because as you can see actually, if we can get back to the tactics board just for a second, what you can see from the average positions of Joe here is that channel here that he was allowed to use a little bit more. If I would just move Gross back a little bit, because he would go up at times when he would get on the ball, but otherwise he would sort of drop deep here. Joe in that, I'm calling him Joe now because we're mates. Joe Bellingham in that sort of area there, it was a channel that he used a lot for Sunderland. How did you feel about his performance? Did you feel like it was one where he impressed overall? Yeah,
I think we said he made a good entrance in the first game. We talked about his scanning, we talked about his body position, the body shape. All of that is at such a young age, he's already ready for that. And there was just really a goal missing or a bit of composure in the box. And I thought he had it today. It's a great start to his career.
Yeah. Absolutely. OK. So, on paper, this was going to be a straightforward affair for Fluminense in this next game. But in practice, it was anything but. OK, let's have a look at this. A stunning free kick from Arias. We're going to dive deep on this one in just a sec. They took the lead. Fluminense overall dominated.